It's headlines and fun, true crime tales and a wild rerun. Bits of news to brighten your day in the latest, wackiest, petty expressway. Scandals, gators, space coast too. Crimes that baffle and headlines askew. When the world gets dark, we bring the cheer. Newsy nuggets, the good, the grim, the weird is here.
Guys, big news in true crime. I don't know. This is not a case that I've delved deeply in. I did look a little bit at why the prosecutor was in such trouble when Barry Morphew was initially charged and why those charges were dropped. So I do have a couple videos about that. But big breaking news today. I know all of you are probably watching Runkle and fangirling over Alessi and Yannetti, like we all should be, because Alessi, oh my Bob Ross with the binder. I'm a nerdy girl, and you know that just makes my heart sing. The husband of Colorado mother Suzanne Morphew was arrested and charged with unaliving his wife more than 5 years after her sudden and mysterious disappearance, prosecutors have just announced today. Now, Barry Morphew, 56, was taken into custody in Gilbert, Arizona on Friday after a grand jury has indicted him on first-degree murder in the death of his 49-year-old wife, who was last seen May 10, 2020, according to the 12th Judicial District Attorney's Office. Now, federal and state law and local law enforcement have never stopped working toward justice for Suzanne. District Attorney Ann Kelly said in a statement, "There was a whole lot going on with the prosecutor, so I might pick this back up now that Karen Reed is done, and I'm kind of just, settling back into the Petty Express. But, this might be a case that we look into. I'm going to be honest with you guys. The Brian Kohberger case is about my worst nightmares. I am sending, one of my kiddos off to go to school and, have that new life experience of being on your own, becoming an independent person. And the fact that there could be a monster out there. Look, I don't know anything about the Kohberger case. Except that, and let's be honest, he does look like central casting for, El Creepy Guy. Again, that should have nothing to do with whether he is factually innocent or guilty of the crime, but I've already tangented off, so let's get back to this particular case. Now, the charging documents allege that Barry took Suzanne's life on the morning of May 9th, 2020, after autopsies revealed traces of powerful animal tranquilizers in her system, which is suspected that her husband used to hunt deer. Now, I didn't think you drugged the deer. I thought you shot him with a freedom seed and took him home to be venison sausage. I didn't think we halidoled the deer, but there you go. I'm not a hunter, as you can tell. I didn't know that one did that. Now, records show that Barry last obtained a prescription for the tranquilizer BAM in March 2018, according to the indictment. Now, additionally, no individual or business in Colorado, where the Morphews lived, where Suzanne's remains were later discovered, had obtained a BAM prescription between 2017 and 2020. Ultimately, the prescription records show that when Suzanne Morphew disappeared, only one private citizen living in that entire area of the state had access to BAM, and that was Barry Morphew, the indictment stated. Now, investigators also discovered a tranquilizer needle cap, darts tranquilizer force multiplier in the couple's home shortly after she disappeared. Now, this has been a long time coming. I do hope justice is found in this case. I really don't have any opinions. I tend to kind of wait until trial and then start taking copious, redonkulous amounts of notes and trying to make sense of it myself like a real juror would. So I can't say as I've delved into this case as much. Yet again, the government allows their predetermined conclusion to lead their search for evidence. Barry's attorney, David Beller, said in a statement to ABC News, "Barry maintains his innocence. The case has not changed, and the outcome will not change either." Now, Susan never returned to their Salida home after taking a Mother's Day bike ride while her husband was reportedly out of town for a business trip. Now, her daughters her remains were discovered 3 years later during a search in Moffat, a town about 45 miles south of Mayfield, where she shared a home with her husband and two daughters. So probably didn't bike ride there. I mean, I'm guessing, possibly, probably not. Now, Barry has maintained his innocence, and in this great state of Comerica, where usually, innocent until proven guilty, I will say that people are really excited about this. The fact that I think she went missing on Mother's Day struck a chord with people. Just the terrible limbo her children were in until they found her remains, and that sort of crippling corrosive hope that there might be other answers other than sadly the one that occurred in this case. It's very hard. My heart goes out to the entire family who lost Suzanne. Now, he has maintained his innocence. He was initially charged in May 2021 with his wife's presumed death after quickly emerging as the prime suspect. A judge, however, granted the prosecutor's motion to dismiss the case without prejudice. Now, that little kind of codicil at the end, without prejudice, means that they could and have brought forth, charges again. They are not precluded or stopped. Now, if it were with prejudice, they could never bring these charges again. Obviously, that was not what happened here. But if you are new to, lay tubing the law tube, which is what I do, lay tuber here, not a jurist, not a lawyer, just a layperson who likes to watch trial, loosely affiliated with, but not associated with LawTube trademark. It's a single entendre. Those are the kind I like. Now, he refused to take a polygraph test after a neighbor reported that his wife was missing and later filed a $15 million lawsuit against prosecutors and investigators, accusing them of violating his constitutional rights. Now, the couple's daughters, Macy and Mallory, have remained by their father's side, insisting through the years they quote, never had a shred of doubt about his innocence, despite evidence that Barry and his wife's 25-year marriage was on the rocks. And I don't think kids are ever privy to the sort of inner turmoil that maybe happens in relationships, even if they're normal, happy, functional relationships. You go through times where just the way they chew or breathe annoys the living schnell out of you. So I get that, kids might not be perceptive in sort of the details, but they might know, they can sense emotions and know when things are not good. So, but I can't imagine the sort of inner turmoil that this set of circumstances would have if my father was accused of taking my mother from me. The slain mother complained about the failing relationship in text messages to her best friend just months before she disappeared, describing Barry as possessive and a narcissistic man who was trying to turn her daughters against her. Now, Suzanne also suspected that her husband was having an affair, and she was involved with a long-distance fling with a former high school flame whom she reportedly intended to leave Barry with. Now, just armchair psychology and kind of a note, if you are with someone who is controlling, aggressive, possessive, things like that, the time where you're planning to leave, when you're getting those things kind of ready, is the most dangerous time. Controlling types don't really like feeling out of control, and when you're no longer in their sphere of influence, that's when the claws come out. That's when, the character assassination and, unfortunately, even, more kind of serious permanent consequences can come up. That being said, you can walk away. No one deserves to be in a relationship where they're torn down, feel like crud, or anything like that. So if you are, please consider taking that step and leaving, but be safe, be careful. And, there are resources out there. Now, Barry is being held on a $3 million bond and previously claimed the two had a wonderful life and a wonderful marriage. Now, prosecutors are working to extradite him back to the San Luis Valley. Now let's look at some comments. This man knew the area very well, having a background in landscaping. He knew how to get rid of a body and where to put it. He also, the area that he buried it is not some place you just stumble upon. It's a place you would have to know if you are a local. All right. He's done for, only guy with the tranquilizer in the area. I mean, I do want to look at the actual filings. I will probably be beginning with Jedi Jess because I want to see the actual court documents. Like I said, I haven't really gotten into this. I know that there was a lot of prosecutorial misconduct in the first charges that were dismissed without prejudice, so we might revisit that. I'm just trying to get, the room back together and everything going. So we get a new office and I get to be productive Mo again. But there you go. Barry Morphew is being held on a $3 million bond. I am not aware of if his state will need, the full amount or if he can do the 10%. So this will be definitely an interesting one to watch. For those of you who are new to watching trials, this is going to be a slower process. A lot of trial is done in preliminary hearings, pre-trial hearings. There are motions in limine where, evidence is included, excluded, and there's a lot of kind of background that's going to be going on before he gets to trial. This is not going to be a wham bam kind of thing. This is going to be a lot of maneuvering with his lawyers and things like that. So I will be here along for the ride. Hope you enjoy me. If you have another case you want me to look into or something strange, let me know in the comments. I am working my hardest to try to get to everything. I know there are so many cases and so little time. But you guys, as always, remember to be kind to yourself, be kind to others, but have a sassy mouth and carry a can of bitch fire because, well, I mean, this is a snapped episode. We don't need no more snapped episodes. Use your sassy mouth, people. Bye, you guys.